Ah, the Dominican Republic, a Caribbean paradise full of history, beaches, and all-around good vibes. Chloe and I had the pleasure of spending a relaxing week on the beach in Punta Cana, and to find out more about that, check out our video highlighting our top 5 things to do in Punta Cana. For this video, however, we'll be showing you around the DR's capital city, Santo Domingo. Santo Domingo is a vibrant town full of history, culture, and good times. Called the oldest city of the New World, Santo Domingo became the first European settlement in the Americas when Columbus came in 1492. That supposedly makes it the oldest continuously inhabited city in the Americas. Therefore, it's a city of firsts, with claims to having the New World's first cathedral, first paved road, hospital, university, and so on. But history buff or not, Santo Domingo has plenty to offer. Day trips from Punta Cana to Santo Domingo are popular, and we want to show you what you might expect if you're thinking about doing one. We booked our day trip to Santo Domingo with a company called Caribbean Dream. It was about $85 a person, and since we were leaving from Punta Cana, it took about 11 hours in total. Our journey began with a 7 a.m. hotel pickup where we met our tour guide Sandro, who turned out to be Richard Gere's Dominican doppelganger. We drove through the lush countryside for about 3 hours before making our first pit stop, which was at a nice shop and included a little ice cream break. All the while, Sandro kept it lively with history, interesting facts, and hot tips about the DR, in English and Spanish nonetheless. This definitely wasn't his first rodeo. After the pit stop and some more driving, our first official stop, 11 kilometers outside of the old town, was Los Tres Ojos, or the Three Eyes National Park. Los Tres Ojos are 3 beautiful blue lagoons inside a limestone cave that is definitely worth seeing. It's a really pretty oasis right in the middle of the hustle and bustle of the city that was once used by the indigenous Taino people. There were some stairs and it could get tight in places, but overall it was a pretty easy to walk around. The entrance fee is super cheap at just over $2, and you can explore on your own or hire one of the guides from the park for a small fee. It was nice to get an explanation about the caves and hear some of the stories and traditions. There's also a 4th lake not considered one of the eyes that requires a small boat to get to via a rope pull system, but our tour group didn't go due to the time constraints. It is about an extra 50 cents USD for the boat ride and has a large opening to the outside, unlike the 3 eyes, which are all contained in the caves themselves. From there, we headed toward the old town and made a few quick stops at sites we passed along the way just to take pictures. One such popular attraction is the Columbus Lighthouse, a monument to good old Christopher. Next, we drove through Malecon, a picturesque part of the city along the beach where the new meets the old. It's a vibrant area with pretty palm trees, hotels, and casinos. We stopped to take a picture of the National Palace as well, home to the President and Vice President of the Dominican Republic. We also passed Fortaleza Azama, which is a medieval-style fortress built in the 16th century with scenic river views. And we drove by Santo Domingo's Chinatown in a literal blink of an eye, where we saw a lot of the city while our guide gave some interesting insight. It was pretty cool. After driving around the city and seeing some sights, we finally parked for good. Before lunch, we randomly stopped at an amber rock shop. It was kind of annoying, but it seems like many day tours around the world often include 1 or 2 side shops, had a shop or a jewelry or a rock place that the tour guide has obviously arranged with the business. Like I mentioned, it's a little annoying, but I've learned to embrace it and not let it bug me too much. Eventually, we went to a nice quaint buffet place for lunch with traditional home-style Dominican food and dancers. After lunch, we walked along some nice side streets on our way to the other sites. Eventually, we made it to the main part of the tour, the Zona Colonial, or Old City. We ended up at the UNESCO-listed Zona Colonial, where a majority of the city sites can be found in these 11 blocks, making it easy to tour by foot. It's free to walk around, but some of the museums and sites charge a small fee of $1 or $2. First up, we visited Alcázar de Colón, aka the Columbus House, which was the home of Columbus's son Diego. This 16th century vice-regal palace has now been converted into a museum with an impressive collection of artifacts from the palace and other medieval and Renaissance art. We had an audio-guided tour which helped give some context to the history and made it pretty interesting. We then passed by Calle de las Damas, or Street of the Ladies, which was the first paved street of the New World. After that, we went into Basilica Cathedral of Santa Maria la Menor, which is the oldest cathedral in the Americas, and excuse my crappy Spanish accent. As a heads up, guests are expected to be covered up from shoulders to knees, so you may want to bring along a light scarf. If not, workers are on hand to offer blankets as cover-up, so no worries really. We also checked out the National Pantheon of the Dominican Republic, which was a former 18th century Jesuit church that has now been converted into a mausoleum for honored citizens, which was pretty cool. Zona Colonial was really great, as were all of the sites. However, one of my favorite parts of the trip was walking from one stop to the next and seeing the things that make Santo Domingo what it is. We stopped in some shops, walked down the alleyways and on the cobblestone streets, stopped for ice cream, and saw the Dominican people that really are the heart of the city. Overall, Santo Domingo was a beautiful city full of culture and history. If you're going to the Dominican Republic, you're likely going for the beaches, but I highly recommend a day trip to Santo Domingo for the rich history and to break up the monotony of the beach vacation and experience a little culture. If you've been to Santo Domingo and have any recommendations of things to do, please let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think. Well, we hoped you liked the video, and hopefully it inspired you to want to go out and travel. If you did like the video, please hit subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Thanks!